Leading up to this jump over a ghost town in New Mexico, one of the big things is getting rid of the unknown.
We started with the engine. We took a standard carburation and we turned it into fuel injection. What that means is you have to change how all the air enters into the engine, and then you have to put injectors on each cylinder. And then with that, we have to go back and also change the fuel pump, because now we're talking a much higher pressure.
In layman's terms, a carburetor reacts to a lot of outside situations to deliver fuel, and flying through the air, negative G-force on landing, all of those things can affect the fuel delivery. With fuel injection, all of those things are taken out of the equation, and fuel injection allows us to put fuel in the engine at exactly the time we want to put it in.
When these trucks are in the air with a carburetor, they seem to die out and bobble a little bit in the air. And the biggest thing for me is if we're going to jump this thing, you don't want any of the truck to bobble or die out, because that means the truck's going to fall forward, endo, and that's the worst thing that can happen. So the biggest thing is making sure the truck is reliable in the air. You have the throttle response, so when you hit the brake to kind of fly the truck a little bit, you have the motor to pick back up to keep the wheels spinning, so you don't have any of those accidents.
These things are originally, they're not built to fly through the air. They're built to race very low to the ground. How a truck flies through the air at 50 feet isn't that big of a deal. 150 feet, it makes a difference. You're talking over 300 feet. Now you have a lot of time in the air. So we added a lot of weights in different corners. We moved some weight around. We took some weight off. What we found with this being a single seat truck, which is pretty symmetrical, and then you put Bryce, the driver, on one side, the other side's kind of void. So we ended up adding weights to the passenger side to kind of make up for the weight of him, and I think we ended up settling about 90 pounds on the passenger side, and that helped with those distances of over 200 feet to keep the truck from rotating down on the driver's side.
When a short course truck leaves the ground, the driver has control coming up to the ramp. He's got control of how he hits the ramp. Sometimes he'll use a little lift on the throttle or a little tap on the brake to launch the truck. As the truck is flying through the air, he might be able to rev the engine a couple of times to try and keep the nose up, or he might be able to drag the brakes a little bit to keep the nose down, depending on how the attitude of the truck is.
When he hit the ramp, what we didn't want to happen was the truck to blow through the suspension, hit the bump stops, rebound off the bump stops, and cause it to go off the jump unsettled. So we did a lot of modifications with the rebound to where when he did hit the lip, it would hold the truck there and allow him to pop off. And also, when he landed, there was enough compression to hold the truck and not bottom out too aggressively. We used a standard BF Goodrich race tire. We bumped up the pressures quite a bit to withstand the landing, but people who built the jump and landing did such a great job that when he landed on all fours, and he didn't even crush the tire all the way.
Right away, I noticed a difference. Right when we started jumping again, the truck was flying straight, and it just boosted my confidence. Going into New Mexico, we're just going to load everything up, keep the truck exactly the same. That's going to be scary, but looking forward to it. Just got to keep my mind focused on that.